All right, I have to stop dancing so I can say hello, everybody. Welcome to Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. Today, we're diving into a story that has the music industry and social media buzzing. Now, imagine this: you've got a billion streams, and all you get is $45,000. That's exactly what Snoop Dogg called out recently, and it's causing a major conversation about how streaming platforms are undervaluing artists. Are musicians getting played instead of paid? Oh, that's a loaded question, y'all. We've got our very own me, Lala, an agent. I'll be leading this conversation, but I am also a musician, and so is my husband. So we got things to say about that. But I also have my royal panel here with me, and I am joined by Constance, our wealth activist, Dr. LaNee, our monetization strategist, Dr. Alicia, our therapist, and Aisha, our financial expert. But that's not all, because we're going to talk about that in the first half. But in our second half, we're talking about Dawn Robinson from En Vogue. Her ex-husband recently offered her a job, claiming the music industry is demonic and that something is wrong with her. Is he trying to help, or is it just another example of people not understanding what artists go through? So we've got a lot of conversation, a lot of loaded things going on, and several of us on the panel know a lot about the music industry. So listen, ladies, I'm going to start with this, and I would love to hear all of your thoughts on this. So when you heard that Snoop only got paid $45,000 for a billion streams, what was your initial thoughts? I'm going to start with you, Dr. Alicia.
Yeah, if Snoop Dogg is complaining about his compensation, just think what all of the other artists who don't even get a billion streams, but put all this effort into creating this wonderful music and they get pennies on the dollar. Yeah.
Pennies. And I do mean pennies. And I'll have more to say about that in a minute. How about you, Aisha?
Yes, when I saw that, I was shocked as well. But then my first thought was, was representing him when he signed the documents? Did he read the documents, right? Because I'm sure there was something written down somewhere that somebody probably missed.
And I've heard that too as well. Constance, you've got a lot of friends in the industry. What are your thoughts when you first heard this?
I mean, they were already getting raped with the music industry anyway. Like they were getting like $1 on each record sale, or less than $1 a lot of times on each record sale, and the big majority of the chunk was going to the record companies. Now they don't even get that, so they're getting 0.0000000 whatever percent on that, and it's streaming now, so it makes it accessible to everybody. The good thing for us is that we can listen to this music for free at this point. So there's a lot of artists that aren't even recording anymore because they're like, well, what am I recording for? It's costing me more to record than what I'm going to recoup. So many artists actually rely on touring
and merch. And those are the things that they can get paid on and can control. How about you, Dr. LaNee?
Same. The money game. The music industry is not what it used to be. I notice it when I see the lyrics. Most music has cussing in it now. Videos go straight to YouTube. I think it's a blessing and a curse. You have more control over your music today because you can go straight to press or straight to your audience. But in order to be on a site like a streaming site, they're definitely not making as much money. The company's making money. They're getting the the monthly fees. I think I pay $9.99 or something like that for Apple Music to have access to all music. How do you take that $9.99 a month and pay your thousands of artists off of $9.99 a month?
Baby, we just had that conversation. My husband and I sat down and talked about this whole thing because he's like, how do you pay the artists when everyone gets everything for $9.99? If even that, you don't have to pay Spotify to listen to it if you listen to the ads. And some of the things that have happened with us is we have 5 albums that we have out there on the streaming platforms. And we get a lot of streams, especially when the overseas gets it. Over there, they like all American music, right? So he can get thousands upon thousands of streams But then what do? They turn around and say, oh, it looks like you using a bot. We're going to take your music down. We know nothing about a bot, but yet they now are training their automatic AI music to everyone's music in the streams so that they can have their own list. So I am not surprised. I'm really surprised that he even got $45,000 on this in the first place, because the way it's rigged, it's always going to be rigged. The record companies are always going to get theirs at the top and charge you for absolutely everything that they do with you. You think those cars and houses look like somebody's big pimping? Nah, you got to pay that right back to the record companies. Now, here's what's interesting to me, and I am going to ask you this, Constance, because we know that we said we had, when you're a musician, you're not, it's not the music that you're really making the money off of. It's off your merching and off your touring. But Snoop also has put something in every industry, wine, music, restaurants, AI, commercials. So, do you feel that he gets way more than what he gets to feed his soul off of other entertainment things that he's doing?
Yeah, he does, but it doesn't mean he shouldn't be compensated for that part too. So yeah, I mean, of course you want to diversify your portfolio, but you want to get paid what you deserve or what you're owed. And so just and if that's people's reasoning or their excuse, oh, he get money over here, it doesn't matter. I should still get money over here. But you think about like all these companies that were ripping. I don't know if we're going to talk about even Angie Stone. I don't know if you know, 3 months before she died, and I was talking about it on my podcast a couple weeks ago. 3 months before she died, she said that UMG was stealing millions of dollars from her, and she found out. And actually, somebody from her diesel crew that was actually investigating it was on the thing and was basically saying, yeah, it's something ain't right in the milk. And so all of a sudden, she winds up dead after she discovers that they've been stealing millions of dollars from her. The reason why I said that is because a lot of these artists could be retiring. Like this lady, 62 years old, she was grinding with health challenges and was grinding on the road because the record industry is so shady and they're not getting properly compensated. So, I know a few people who when COVID happened, they were only getting paid from tours. So when COVID happened, they shit dried all the way up, and they was asking me, "Hey, I know you got a friend who owns Bump Box. Can you hook me up with a licensing deal?" They was asking me that because they weren't able to get money anywhere else. So yeah, it's bad out there.
It is, and it's not only in the music industry, as we are seeing as well in the Actors Guild and all those things. People are finally coming out and speaking about how much they are making. But listen, when that is your passion, I know when I don't sing, I'm not a happy person. So most of the people say, well, why don't you go find another hustle? Why don't you go do something else? Well, if I feel like that is my life purpose and that's what I'm supposed to be doing, I feel I need to be compensated accordingly. So I'm going to ask you, Dr. Alicia, do you believe these streaming platforms are the one to blame, or should record labels also be held accountable?
The whole system is really messed up. I feel being an artist, being born ordained as an artist, and I do believe that artists are just born that way, creatives. It's a curse. It's a double-edged sword. It's like all roads have to lead down to this starving artist environment that everybody gets started with. And it's the beauty of it is that you have a story to tell, a message to give, and you feel like you need outlets to do that. People who are really good with that artistry aren't very good with the business side of music. How can you be? So you have to learn how to trust other people. So in addition to record companies taking advantage of the artist, we also now have streaming apps that are taking advantage. In Spotify, I was listening to prepare for today, I listened to the founders of Spotify. They set out to build an advertising company. They didn't know how they were going to, what type of platform it was going to be. It ended up being music, but these are advertising executives That was their whole purpose. So again, taking a look at that, it's just like soap opera. Y'all know about soap operas. Why it's called soap operas is because advertising companies wanted to figure out how we can sell soap to stay-home moms. And so we're going to call soap operas. The whole industry of the soap opera industry, way back when it became popular, was so that soap companies can use advertising around these dramas, trying to tap into getting stay-at-home moms to go to the store and purchase their soap. So that's why it's called soap operas. It is all about advertising and whatever you can do. I have some other thoughts, but I'll end there. Thank you.
All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break. And there's always an underlying reason for everything that somebody does. All right. So we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
It's a good show right here. But I'm biased. If you are just tuning in, you are watching Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. My name is Tiara Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood, and I'm the proud producer of this show because it is lit. If you want to receive notifications for when we go live Monday through Friday, 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All you have to do is text the word Queens to 87948. That's Queens to 87948. That's QUEENS to 87948. Also, if you want to grow your money and not blow your money, all you have to do is go to flynubianmoney.com. There's all kinds of resources, there's courses, there's free giveaways. There's just no reason to be broke in 2025. All you have to do is go to flynubianmoney.com. Obviously, you don't want to be entertained here. You want to know enough to grow. Wait, I need to put that on a shirt. You got to know to grow. Got to know to grow. So know and grow with flynubianmoney.com.
I absolutely love that. Yes, you got to know to grow, and we have the resources for you. So all you need to do is, it's not hard. We're not telling you to go out there and do cartwheels in the middle of the street. Just go to your little personal assistant right here and type in flynubianmoney.com. Go check out what we have for you so that you can help get yourself on your feet and get your financial house in order. Now, listen, I want to continue the conversation, but I got so ready to talk about it. I want us to actually see what Snoop said. So check out what he said.
They just sent me some shit from Spotify where I got 1 billion streams, right? My publisher hit me. I said, break that down. How much money is that? That shit wasn't even $45,000.
That's crazy. That is fucking crazy.
That is fucking crazy. That's somebody's livelihood. That's not even poverty level. Like, that's not poverty level income. So, Aisha, does an independent artist protect their revenue while still leveraging these type of streaming platforms?
Well, when I heard him saying that, I said, wow, he must be taken aback from that as well, right? So how do you protect yourself? For me, knowing this, that historically we can see that there's a pattern in the industry where the artist, it gets the short hand of the stick. They don't get what they deserve, or they do all the work, right? But then they get all the money because they promote you and all that great stuff. Well, that's good, but the artist should be compensated accordingly. And if I were in their shoes, what I would do is, knowing what I know from the past and the history, is get a good lawyer before you go read any document, because you know that all the things that they're doing is embedded in the documents. Right? It's saying, well, I have to take this cut. This is your cut. And if we do this and do that, this is what you're going to get. But an ordinary person doesn't know how to read the documents properly. But if somebody that is trained, pay them the fee to read this document, to tell you each chapter or paragraph, what it means, what it says. And you can actually ask them to write this paragraph that is, a contract. I want it written for me in a simple terms on the side as an addendum. I want to understand what this page says. But people don't think that. They think they have to stay within the document. Yeah, it's okay that you have the document for me, but can you please give me an explanation in simple terms? what this is saying to me, so I can make a decision whether I want this or not, or I can argue with you whether this is a good fit for me, because it happens over and over again. And I can tell you this, the only reason why they can't fight back is because the document stated clearly that this is what you're signing for, and you agreed and you signed it. So now you can now take back. But my daughter's an artist. She loves art. So I can only imagine what that's going to do to her if that happens. But knowing what I know, I will go there prepared. I will have a lawyer that is going to be an advocate for us if that ever happens. So that way we know what we're getting into. So there's no gray area, because that is how they get you, is with this document and contracts.
And I totally agree with you on that. Yes, I know that sounds so wonderful, and I advocate for it. But I also feel like a lot of the times these new technologies that come out, once the cat has been let out of the bag, you're chasing that cat with nip. Okay, because once it's out, you've already signed a document, then something new comes out. How do you go back and chase the money that was there before? Now, listen, I'm going to have to go to my branding strategist on this. So, Dr. LaNee, what role does branding and merchandising play in making up for the low streaming payouts?
I'm going to go with monetization over branding, right? So I think you switched from branding. So if we were to look at being an artist as creating the brand and getting your name out there, marketing yourself, then you have to then monetize that, right? So if we look at Snoop, 1 billion streams means 1 billion people have listened to your music, which is why people then go out and tour. Because when you tour, you're in charge of your money. When you create products, goods, and services, you create money. If you do a masterclass, you create money. So you have to then look at how do you monetize the talent, or monetize the brand, or monetize the name that you've built outside of music. If we look at Rihanna, her music didn't make her a billionaire, right? She leveraged the fact that people knew her through music to go and create this other business. We may never get another album from her ever again, not at 1 billion streams for $45,000. It may never happen. She might do it because then she can leverage that and then go on tour, right? So she might do it. When we see Beyonce's music come out, she ain't worried about these streams because she's making money on tour. So
and that's why them tickets is $2,000 and $3,000.
Yeah, it's knowing how to monetize your brand, monetize your name, monetize your likeness. If you're only making music for streams, you're going to be broke. But make the music, get on the streams, get known, get recognized, and then go do something else with that fame.
Agree. You've got to take control of your whole brand. You are your brand. Big Mac says Snoop is a vet in the game. How he's still getting screwed? Well, you have to kind of look at the very beginning of his contract too, with who else he was signed with, right? Like, got to kind of look at that too. Marilyn says, I believe these streaming platforms found a loophole in artist contracts. They are making millions off of old and new artists. Yes, they have. They have found these loopholes and they are using them well, baby. And it ain't no tax loophole. They done found big ones that they could just march right on through. Tammy Michelle Perry says, I love the Spotify platform. Unfortunately, India Irie also spoke out against them a short while ago. We are hearing more and more artists, with us being immersed in the music industry. It's an everyday thing that we are looking at. We are also asking why are the BMIs and the ASCAPs stepping in to help their artists? You know, if they're supposed to be protecting you, then why aren't they fighting a little more harder? Same as the Actors Guild, when they came out and they did all of their strikes, there was no music strike. And I find that very interesting that the Actors Guild did that. However, but the music industry did not. But I want to look at some stats. Let's look at a little bit of stats, because this is pretty deep. I mean, I think we all agree that $45,000 for 1 billion streams is a little low. So the average per stream payout on Spotify is around, I need my banner on the bottom to be moved a little bit because I can't read it. Okay, we'll come back to that one. The average per stream payout on Spotify is around 0.003 to 0.005. And let me tell you, the 0.005 is for people like Snoop. Okay, that's your big stars right there. Y'all, who is living off of that? Can I please ask you who is living off of that? I want to hear. I
That's
want.
less than a penny. That's less than a penny, right?
That's not even a fraction of a penny. That's a fraction upon a fraction upon a fraction of a penny.
My
That's
Lord.
just ridiculous. Who in the world? But let's see what the record companies are saying about it, because they came back and tried to hit back with what they said too. Let's see what their explanation is. The music industry says the global music industry revenue exceeded 21 billion in 2023, but only the fraction reaches the artist. Yep, we know that. We definitely know that. A fraction. So everything else is going to the CEOs. The CEOs are getting bonuses, massive bonuses. I'm talking massive bonuses. Then you may have to pay out, whoever your representative is. Then you have to pay, just looking at your fee. There's all things that go into this, like it was even when you were putting out physical product with the tapes and the CDs and the 8-tracks. We're still seeing these things. The artists are not getting what they need. So listen, all right, Constance, how do you think that the streaming compares to the traditional album sales in terms of artist profit?
Say that one more time.
How does the streaming compare to traditional album sales in terms of the artist's profit?
Oh, it compares significantly. I mean, if you go back to, they're getting a lot more visibility via streaming, right? Because more people have access to it. But there's something that happened, because you got to think about this. Remember when streaming first started with Napster? Remember that? Yeah. And people were mad at Napster, but really it was somebody leaking their information over to Napster. It wasn't Napster. People was blaming Napster. Oh, Napster, I hate Napster. Napster messed this up. No, somebody was leaking your stuff over to Napster and it was putting it online. So Napster was like kind of the godfather or the father or the grandfather of streaming. But then what happened is you have these streaming platforms, and they are basically, there's no more CDs, there's no more tape cassettes, there's no more, there's none of that. I don't have a CD player in my car. So then the only way to get your music out there is by these streaming platforms. And so, yeah, in order to participate in streaming, some people have taken their stuff off of different streaming platforms. Leah's music was not on there for years. That was a whole different thing. But there are people, artists who aren't on streaming platforms. Even like when it came to like TikTok, a lot of I forget, they had a conflict with one of those record companies. I think it might have been Universal Music Group. Yes. So none of the artists from that company can actually be on TikTok. So, but what happens is if they are the single source, the go-to, they set their own parameters. But then you said how many $1 billion was made off of this? Where was it made? Was it made in record sales? Because is that what it was made, or was it made in advertisement? What was the $23 billion or whatever you said, the $1 billion that was made? And my question is, how much? I want to get an accounting of how much everybody else is making outside of these artists, and that's what they should be demanding.
And that has been put out before. We don't have those stats here, but I will tell you, the insider and the emails that we get from and our research, like I said, majority of that money goes to the CEOs. When they hit a certain time, certain amount, then they get a bonus for being, we do have stats on that. I'm sorry about that. So listen, I want to take a quick break. And then I want to come back and hit those stats, because I like to know where the money is. I used to say, where the beef? I want to know where the money is. Where the money? All right, we're going to take a break.
I know you're busy. You got things to do, and you can't take us on the go with you every single day. Good news for you. We are now on Spotify. So if you can't watch us, now you can listen to us on Spotify. Search Fly Nubian Money, and all the episodes shall appear. All you have to do is like, subscribe, leave a 5-star rating, leave some comments, tell people how you love us, so that when other people come along and are looking for a great show to watch, they can find Fly Nubian Money too. One last thing, and just in case you've been sitting under a rock, Fly Nubian Money now has an investment club. We are the Fly Nubian Money Club. It's easy. All you have to do is go to flynubianmoneyclub.com, and I am committed to bringing in top experts from all industries to help you level up. They're teaching us the skills that we need to compete in this market. We often say that nobody is coming to save us, not the government, but guess what? We're coming to save us. I'm coming to save you with the Fly Nubian Money Club. So listen, all you have to do again is go to flynubianmoneyclub.com. We have a 30-day free trial set up just for you, just for those people that are struggling. Even if you ain't struggling, you ain't got to struggle. I'm coming. Okay, let me stop playing. I'll see you soon.
Sound like to me some of these artists probably need to go to flynubianmoneyclub.com because this is not making it for them. Listen, that is what it's all about. We are here to help you upgrade yourself. Let me upgrade you. So all you have to do is go to flynubianmoneyclub.com. We had a beautiful class with Miss Aisha here today, this last weekend, and I heard it was the boom. So see what you missed out on? Did you see what you missed out on? Well, you don't have to miss out. We have a free trial. And we know once you see that free trial, you're going to be like, nah, I'm sticking around, because we all have had a turn to talk and teach you something in there. Make sure that you go to flynubianmoneyclub.com. Now, listen, I want to check out another video, and then we're going to dig back into this.
The overall payout, it's like 3 to 5 million for a billion streams. 80% or so goes to the recording side, 20% or so goes to the publishing side. You probably know the wild world of publishing better than I do, but there's mechanical, there's performance.
Right.
For that song, I think it was Young, Wild, and Free by Snoop, released with Atlantic, so major label. I don't know Snoop's terms on the recording, but 80% of the 3 to 5 million goes to the recording side. Wiz Khalifa, Bruno Mars were on the track too, so was there an advance someone's recouping? What are the splits there? I couldn't tell you. On the publishing side, that's around 20% of that payout, and on that song there's 13 songwriters. Ooh. And so I don't know if there's samples, I don't know what else, but there's 13 writers on that song. And so when I was doing some in the back of the napkin, I think maybe Snoop was talking about just the mechanical royalties. So yeah, basically, it's a good example of if you're DIY artist, things are pretty simple. If you own 100% of your music and you write and produce it yourself,
right.
If you have there are billion stream songs that are fully independent, that person's getting the full 3 to 5 million. Once you're signing label deals, sometimes it's great terms, right? Like maybe you get a life-changing advance and that's awesome, but you're just not going to earn as much back
in royalties.
And so that's where Snoop knows his own terms. He owns his own record label now, so I hope he's making even more.
Yeah.
I want Snoop getting all the money he wants.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what happens.
Do you see my face? If that didn't sound like some straight up bullshit, then I don't know what it is. I got a bridge to sell you. But now listen, before I get into us talking, I need to know if you are family. Listen to that and what you heard. Did you hear pure bullshit? Or do you think that man is spitting logic and truth? Listen, Dr. LaNee, I need you to help me because I'm going to ask everybody on this panel, what did that sound like to you?
It sounds like the banana in the tailpipe. It's going to work. Don't worry about it. It makes sense. The math is mathing, but the math is not mathing. Now, it is, but it isn't. So let me, when we were talking a minute ago, I started thinking about it. When we used to buy, and Constance brought this to fruition for me, we used to buy CDs and tapes, right? So an individual artist CD and tapes for $14.99, multiple times. So that artist got everything off of that $14.99. So that would be Dre, that would be Snoop, that would be KRS-One, that would be whomever. Each artist got their $14.99 to pay their writers and their tech team or whatever the case might be off of their $14.99. Okay. Now we pay $9.99 for all of the artists. So nobody's getting their $14.99 per artist. So you mean you off of $9.99, everybody's team has to get paid, the studio has to get paid, the writers have to get paid off of $9.99 split across everybody. So what has happened? the math ain't mathing. What they said was, we're not going to change our compensation as CEOs and management. We still going to get our money. So y'all have to figure out how to share and break down what's left. And what's left is less than a penny. Because we're not going to change our compensation structure. We still got to hit bonus. We still got to pay for our families. We still got to do these things. So y'all going to get paid less. We're still going to give you the deal. But the deal comes at less than a cent in order for you to stream. Because their money didn't change. They still making millions.
Millions. Every time we see what the CEOs are making, it makes us physically ill. It really does. So we have 4 out of 5 of our projects. The 5th one they took down because they claimed that we did bots. You're not even paying us that much to even worry about an independent artist. So I can only imagine what they're doing for the bigger artists, because they actually came out, guys, and said, if you don't get a certain amount of streams in a certain time, we're not paying you at all. Even if you earned $10, you still didn't hit the mark. So guess what? We're going to keep your $10. You don't get it. Dr. Alicia, I need to know, because you brought up the fact that advertisers, soap operas, we see all that breakdown. So I want to hear your thoughts on what we just saw.
Yeah, I mean, this is the reason why independent artists are not signing record contracts. And not only do you pay $9.99 a month, but they also can sell your information and make money off of that, because now they have your information, they have your email address, they have all your demographics, which they do sell and make a profit off of that. And they're selling to and they have all these ads on there for the free membership. You can get a free version, but you have to listen to all those ads. So they're making money. They're just trying to make it. They're not including everything that goes into, not to mention shareholder, all of these things that are so important. That's why artists are staying independent, because they're realizing that now record companies are coming to them and they're saying, not only do we want a cut of your record sales, but we want a cut of all of your Instagram. So you work independently to build up your Instagram account with your music. And now the record company wants a piece, not only of your music sales, not only of your concerts, the ticket sales, but they also want a piece of any endorsements that you get outside of that. Now, Beyonce and all those people, this wasn't even possible. We are in uncharted territory now. Mm-hmm. We don't even need artists anymore. AI can create music that we don't even need anymore, trendy music, and they could give specifics, or they can get ghostwriters. There's like an entire music companies, they can just get ghostwriters when they can put anybody's face on the front of that. It doesn't matter if you have the specifics that they know based on algorithms, it's gonna do well. We don't need artists anymore. We don't need your unique perspective, because we have data on what we know sells. And the point of all of these record companies is to sell us things. It's consumer driven. All of this is consumer driven, and that's what they care about. Artists, of course, have a different flavor. They have a different perspective. But these companies are all interested in consumer driven, buy my soap.
Exactly. But here's also the problem. When people know that they can get everything they want for $9.99, then that's what they're going to do. At some point, you have to question yourself as consumers. Do I love this artist? Do I want to support this artist? There's certain artists that we make sure that we seriously support them because we love them and we want them to be successful. But we have to start questioning ourselves too on, hey, do I just get everything for $9.99? Don't worry about them artists. They got enough money, when in reality, a lot of times they do not. Now, listen, not everybody is on the same level as Snoop. Okay, but I still say that video sounds like a lot of bullshit to me. So, Constance, what were your thoughts off of the video that we watched?
Well, I mean, I couldn't say that it was bullshit, but it sounds like, because he represented Spotify.
Yes.
Okay, so based upon the streams, and just like Dr. LaNee said, you have $9.99 for everybody's stuff. So that might be the amount that goes into the record label. So it's not necessarily on Spotify. It's then on the record label, because if the record label is getting $3 million, and there are the mechanicals, there are all the other fees that are inside those contracts, they do have to go back and see, what are the splits. So that it doesn't sound to me like it's on the Spotify or the streaming platform. It's more on the record label. And then it begs you to wonder, okay, well then why aren't these people? Because really you can go straight to streaming, right? You can go straight to streaming. You ain't got to go to no record label. I could just put my stuff on Spotify myself. Yes. And I don't have to go through. I don't even have to have that split. But when you look at the power that the record labels have, because they have the wherewithal, or they have the strong arm where they can force these people to put this on the street and put this in rotation, put these songs in rotation. Think about Drake and Kendrick and Not Like Us. Remember, Drake was suing UMG because they felt like they were in a smear campaign. And I guess Drake is part of UMG, Universal Music Group as well.
Yes.
And so he was basically, because I guess they were in some kind of negotiations, he felt like this was a retaliation against him. Let's put all of our money and resources and our influence into pushing this record and making it a viral hit. Now it's against me. So the record labels do have a lot of the power. So that answers the question. Why when they, I can go direct to stream. Well, the record label still holds the cards. But I think it goes back to the artists needing to demand, higher splits, because they still getting paid. It's not like they're not getting paid anything. They just need to demand higher splits.
I think all of this sounds just way too easy, y'all. I mean, I'm sorry. We do all of that. We go straight to the streaming. We're an independent artist. We have our own record label. We have our own merch. If we're not touring and selling our merch and constantly putting our music out, we don't get anything at all. But then we still get that pushback because all of a sudden, oh, this person look like they're starting to get big and we don't want to pay them. We don't want to pay. And the next thing you know, they take the music down. They have too much control over our music and what they want to do with this. Record labels are not. And it angers me when it takes years. This ain't no poo butt music factory over here. 3 years on one album. And you take our album down because you see that it's doing well. I have a problem with that. So I don't think it's on the record companies. I really don't. I think that they see this is free money and they're going to put as much pink elephant fluffy cotton candy in these contracts that they can. And it's frustrating when you are really trying to be seen and you're doing what you need to do and marketing yourself well. These companies step in and say, sorry, bye. I just have a problem with that. I didn't get your response on the video, Aisha. What's your thoughts on what you heard the answer was to why he only got so much?
Yeah, I think it's just going back to what Dr. LaNee said. There's the ups and the downs of what he said. But again, it's the distribution and what they receive, the percentage that they receive, and it's going back to so many people. So you end up getting very little. While on the top, there's only a few people, so they get the bulk of it. So I think, again, it's all in the division and those that are involved. And sometimes I was thinking to myself, sometimes too is, in the record industry, those are actually working with the artists also now go to sue and say, well, I work with you too. Where's my cut? So then the cut begins to be watered down. I think we have to look at that as well. The people that actually want to claim a portion of that percentage that the artist is also getting. Right. So I think it's bigger than just what he said. It's so many moving parts that is causing the artist being, getting this short hand of the stick because of that.
I think real quick before we change topics or move on. I think it's bigger than music. I think it's entertainment and sports. In almost any industry where we as the Black peoples are the talent, you have some type of a white majority dictating our revenue, our income, how much we're going to get paid. We see it in sports. There's the owner of the team. And then they put all these buffers with your lawyer and you're this person and you're that person. And none of those people look like us who get a percentage off of the talent. So we see it in sports, we see it in entertainment, we see it in music, we see it in anything where there is Black people or Black talent or Black anything that can rise or has some type of a monetization value. There is a hand that doesn't look like ours connected to it, controlling it, dictating what it can have and what it can do. We're talking about music today, but it's in everything.
It's in everything. But, you know, someone did mention Nipsey and someone also mentioned Prince. Now, Taylor Swift as well, but Taylor took it all off of what Prince did about him stopping Warner Brothers and just re-recording his music until he got what he wanted. But then he was already a big name artist. Small people don't have that kind of power. Now, Nipsey was very, very smart in the fact that he said, you want my music, you come to me. And that's where these other platforms such as Bandcamp do now come in as well, where you can go and stream their music there and then also get paid from that directly, as well as buying your merch. So I think the thing is, is the case of VHS, or what's the other one? Beta. Which one gets bigger? It's just a matter of which one is more popular. And people know Spotify, but they don't know Bandcamp. So we really have to do a little more research on that. All right, let's take a quick break and then we'll be right back.
Are you a Black business owner looking to expand your reach? Well, has Fly Nubian Money got good news for you? We are building a Black business directory to connect you with customers who need your services. And here is the best part. It is absolutely free. Email us at info@realvirtual.net. Send us your business name. Tell us a little bit about what you do, what services you offer, your website address, and your contact information. That's it. Together, we are going to build and circulate the Black dollar. Get listed today and start connecting with people who are probably already looking for you.
You got your assignment. Please do that. Do that now so that people can find you. I want to start getting right into our next topic because we already talked about Snoop, but listen, we're also seeing other artists that are struggling out here as well. So I want you to check this video out.
I saw somebody send a message and say, Jermaine, Monica, all of y'all, can y'all put some money together to help Dawn out? From my understanding, for her to speak on it the way she spoke on it, she was basically saying that she saw other people living in their vans, living in RVs, and she welcomed the idea of doing this. Somebody said her choice or limited options. It was her choice to be in the car. Man, you don't have no money, right? And I'm bringing this up because Dawn, when she was telling this story in her car today about her living in her car for the last 3 years, she said, I was telling my assistant. And when she said that, I said, oh, wait a minute. It changed my whole vibe of what I was watching because ain't no goddamn way she got an assistant. And she ain't got no money. You know what I mean? Ain't no way. Yeah, Mr. Watson, when you ain't got no money and you out here just doing what you got to do, you do by yourself.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? You moving around by yourself. Ain't nobody getting ready to sit up under you and just kick it for nothing. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it might be some people that will stick there for a little bit, but 3 years? She said she been in her car for 3 years. Ain't no 3 years of an assistant staying around and ain't getting no money. If you ain't got no money, how they gonna help you? I mean, you know what I'm saying? You ain't got no money to pay them. Yeah. It don't even make sense, right? It don't make sense. So I'm just trying to make sure everybody pays attention to the whole scope of this story, because that's what I heard, and that made me think, wait a minute. She got an assistant. I don't know if she broke. She might not have all the money that she want in the world, but she definitely is not broke saying she got an assistant.
All right, this brings up a lot of questions, guys, but I really do want to hear your initial thoughts. But before I move into that, I want you to know that there's another piece that we're not really going to be pulling up, but this is a reaction to Dawn coming out. Please just shake your head if you've all seen the video. where Dawn came out in her car and said that she is living in her car, and she's been living in her car for 3 years. Dawn was one of the founders and lead singers of En Vogue, which was a very big group. They are still touring and out there as well. She also was a part of Lucy Pearl. She had issues with both groups. And now she's saying that she is now living in a car. So that's her with En Vogue. That is her talking from her car. Her husband is actually, her ex-husband has also offered her a job to get her out of the car. But here's the thing. Just like Jermaine just said, when you listen to that video, she makes it sound like this was her choice. I want to hear your initial thoughts on this, Dr. Alicia. What is your thoughts on this? Because mental sounds like there's a problem in here. Want to hear your therapist view.
Yeah, I do remember listening to it thinking, wow, she's got no shame. She just almost looked like, I've been living in my car. She looked like she was not necessarily proud of it, but it was almost like this has been weighing heavily on me, and now I've come to terms with this, and I am going to now announce that I've been living in my car for 3 years. And it's the craziness of it, because that was the it group. Like any and everybody in terms of girls groups, so to speak, was it. Those are the people that I looked up to in high school. En Vogue. I went to performing arts high school, so everybody wanted to be just like one of those girls on En Vogue, singing and dancing all the time. That is what I grew up on. So, I mean, there is no pinnacle higher than what En Vogue achieved. And to see her proudly get up and eloquently articulate her financial status for the past 3 years, initially I thought, whoa, that's brave. That took a lot of courage to be able to say all of that. I was a little inspired. And then it just makes me wonder. You always wonder about, wow, living in your car. How does she bathe? How does she eat? Does she have family? What's going on? I always think, like, did she burn bridges everywhere she went? How do you get to the point? Here I am spending my day running my business, doing things I need to do. And I'm stopping and thinking about Dawn. How do you actually pull that off? And so then I stop and move on with my life. But initially that was quite surprising. And I had more questions than answers from that video.
I still have more questions about that, but I do believe JD brought up some good questions about how you got an assistant and you're living in your car. This sounds like this is your choice. How about you, Aisha? What is your thoughts on that?
Yeah, when I saw the video of a few days ago, even before we got as a topic, I felt the same. I said, wow, what happened? That was my first thought. What happened? But then as I kept listening, I realized that, you know what, it might have been something she was doing, because a lot of people do that. They like to live off the grid and have maybe stay. But then I'll say, well, it can be her choice, because she had a fancy life. She traveled the world. Is this really something that happened because she maybe something happened to her and she had to, downsize? So those thoughts were in my mind. But then now that I'm listening to him talking about how she said an assistant, I'm like, oh, see, must have been a choice. Maybe she doesn't have a lot of money like she used to. So this is a way for her to kind of downsize and have her own space. But then finally telling the world, okay, I don't have a house. I'm living in my car. So I saw that as something of humility as well. And she laughed about it a little bit, like in a very nervous way, that, oh my gosh, I'm living. I said it, I feel better. So, and I felt, you know what, in my own humanity, because I've been in that space before where I didn't have a place to stay. And as an immigrant in this country, and I want to get here. But I saw that. Then I was able to accept it, that, you know what, sometimes we don't know the back. We know that because she was a public figure, we know the backstory. But then what led her to this point, right? So I just was able to look at that and said, well, I cannot imagine, but it was a good thing that she brought it up. And she said, now I feel better, because I felt that with her. And whatever the case is, I'm sure she's finding a way to deal with it. And now the whole world knows. And now we can all weigh in, good or bad, we can all weigh in.
Right, good or bad, we can all weigh in. Well, listen, here's the thing. There are many rumor mills out there, and those I know that have worked with her as well, so she is extremely difficult to work with. and she's very, very demanding. So I'm just trying to say, I mean, I think, okay, no, Lala's just going to own up to what she says. Wherever you go, girl, that's where you are. Everywhere you've been, you have blamed everyone else for your circumstance instead of standing in your own truth. So my feeling is, you don't have to live this way. You're choosing to live this way because you're the problem. But hey, she even blamed the mama. Okay. And then what I hear is, a mama's like, I haven't talked to my daughter in 3 years and I'm worried about her and concerned about her. So there's an issue here. There's an issue here. And if it's mental, I hope she gets the help that she needs. But don't come out acting like, this is something that you chose. Well, you chose it in a way, but it didn't turn out the way that you wanted it to be. So we do have another video. I want to check this one out before we get into our other thoughts. So let's just check out her ex who came to her defense.
This is about me just minding my business the other day and seeing a video come up on my feed and a bunch of other people texting me the same video of my ex-wife, the woman that I was in love with for about 10 years of my life, telling the world that she was sleeping in her car and was homeless. When I see people talking and people ripping her apart and putting their 2 cents in, this music industry is demonic. It takes and it takes and it takes. It uses you up until you have nothing left, and then it seeks to destroy you for the ratings. Because the people at the top, they get paid on both ends, on your way up and on your way down. So if nothing else, I just want people to look at Dawn as a human being right now. I know Jermaine Dupri seems to feel like maybe this might be a hoax that she's doing or some kind of publicity stunt. Slim Thug had a more human take on what's happening, but those are men. What I want you to understand is that this is a woman. And while we can bounce back and end up in a position like I'm in right now, I'm an executive for Hilton. I make over $500,000 a year. Not everybody can do that without some help. So maybe you could call it survivor's guilt or whatever you want to call it. But when I see my ex, somebody that had my heart at one point in my life struggling, I don't believe that about her wanting to do van life or, wanting to have to put a video out telling everybody that she's living in her car. I believe it was a cry for help. So I reached my hand out to help. Sad part is, I don't think she'll take it. I'd love if she did, but this industry, it twists your head up so tight that the only thing that matters is the crowd's approval, and she doesn't have the crowd anymore. And she can't do anything to get that back. She don't really believe that. I know that's what all this is about, but she's struggling with something. I'm not a doctor, but I'm aware of, mental health issues. I had one at a point in my life decades ago.
I actually think this man is coming from a good place in his heart. I just feel like he really does, but I could be wrong about that. Constance, what are your thoughts?
So yeah, before you came on, I was gonna say what I know people, and I know people that know people, and the people that I know said that she a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I had said it like that, Alicia, Dr. Alicia, but she is struggling with some mental health challenges, and that's the whole. This is of course we know that she's had some issues with being hard to work with in the past. I know that from Raphael Sadiq and En Vogue, but now she's dealing with some mental health issues, and that's the reason why she's in the position that she's in.
I have to agree that, there's always a seed of truth in everything that you hear. And this seed has blossomed. And all you have to do is go back and look at a lot of her interviews, look at a lot of her things that she said, like she's blamed everyone else on everything instead of taking and owning up to her. At some point, you're going to have to step into it. And like I said, if you have a mental issue, I really and truly hope that you get the help that you need. So, Dr. LaNee, what is your thoughts on this? Because her husband, it seems like people are truly trying to help her.
I'm torn because I want to be like, get your act together. And if you were a nicer person, karma would treat you. That's literally where I want to go. But as a Black woman looking at another Black woman who is obviously struggling, I think it would be easy. I have a kind heart. I don't want to see anybody struggle, but I definitely don't want to see a Black woman struggle. And so I immediately think like, was somebody there to help her? Was somebody there to pull her coattail? Like, I'm super lucky and blessed to know that I have people who pull me to the side and be like, you messing up. Like, you need to get it together. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't all have those strong girlfriends that will feel comfortable telling us that we're fucking up and we need to get our stuff together, right? And so I wondered, did she have anybody like that? Or did people just let her fall off? Did people watch her? Because we have a bad habit in our community of normalizing bad behavior. Oh, that's just how she is. We'll just put her on another ban. We'll just move her around. She's making money. So as long as she's making money, we're not going to address her issues. We see the writing on the wall. We see that she has problems. We see that she doesn't get along with people, but we're not going to worry about that now because right now we're making money. We'll deal with it later. Well, later never comes. And now she's homeless. And now we're saying, oh my God, she has these issues. But she's had these issues. Did anybody talk to her about them before? Or are we here now? And you know, we're kind of we're not shuffling it under the rug, but she's a whole grown up now. Now it's sad, right? When she might have been able to have gotten some help if the industry wasn't pimping her for monetization at the time, right? So that's why I'm conflicted. The other thing is, as business owners and entrepreneurs, we know that we have thrown out that language of my assistant before, and it'd be an intern or a family friend or somebody that you're not paying. So that thing, yeah, exactly. Like if you've been homeless for 3 years, you probably are not paying somebody. You probably have somebody who's like, oh, that's Don Robinson. I'm going to help her. I'm her assistant. She probably not paying nobody, right? But we don't give our community, our people, we don't give each other grace. We look at a situation. It's easy for us to come up with our own narrative because we know what we know. I would never be homeless. I would never live out of my car. We can say it. We don't really know, but we do know. Like there's no way if they got that bad. At this point, I'm Ubering. At this point, I'm doing all the things to not be homeless or a van life. And I know that that's a new thing where people take it on as a choice, but I just don't know. I don't know if I would choose to live out of my car. But she doesn't have any kids. I mean, there's just so much to unpack here. There's just so much to unpack in her situation.
Maybe I wouldn't choose to live out of a no car in Los Angeles, the way Los Angeles is. Baby, coming down Melrose and Rodeo Drive, shooting people, sitting down having lunch. I am not. You go to Santa Monica, you go to Malibu, all those fancy places, and do you know what they do to women? No. There is something like the whole thing is crazy to me. I don't know what it is, but I know that it bothers me to my core. And you know, usually I'm a very empathetic person, but something to me is like, girl, get your life together, because you have the ability to get your life together and you're choosing not to. What you're choosing to do is to be the victim when there is help out there for you. But that's a real thing too. I know I may be overstepping Dr. Alicia on that. I'm sorry about that. But listen, let's acknowledge a couple of the people that we have had conversations with in our family, our viewership family. I don't want you, y'all, this was such a hot topic. I didn't get to acknowledge a lot of them. So QJ DJ says, why doesn't the Black community support figures in the entertainment industry like Kanye West? I always say Kanye West and Monica when they go against the system. Well, that's a whole nother conversation on that one. Me personally, Mr. West guy, no, but I was all on board with Monique. I really feel like she was on the right thing. We can't say we support mental health and then say cool for Cocoa Puff. People invalidate your thoughts if you think you have mental issues. Fair enough, Constance. Yeah, Constance, when you just shake your head, I get worried.
Yeah, she's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, but she also has mental health issues too.
Right. So we also had Incog, who also said assistant, but homeless girl, bye. The Black Panther says, I'm proud they're getting quota unquoted played several people like Snoop right for the type of person to promote what he promotes. I don't think he's a big Snoop fan. So we've had a lot of great conversation, a lot of things that we need to really think about. But here's the thing. We always like to turn it around into what we are doing in our lives. These people obviously have some more thinking to do about their financial houses, right? Big or not big. We've got two different things that we talked about today. But here at Fly Nubian Money, we help you to up your game. We not only have the free resources, but we also have Fly Nubian Money Club as well. So you shouldn't be having these conversations with people about your life, because we give you the tools to help your financial house be in order. But listen, we've had a great conversation. We're going to have to wind it down. Honey, I could talk about this about 3-4 hours, but we're going to wind it down with final thoughts and where we can find you. Let's start with you, Dr. Alicia.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that's become very clear listening to her ex-husband talk is one thing is related to what becomes very clear when I do couples counseling, that when I talk to one person and they explain the problems happening in their relationship, I always think, okay, let's get the other side to the story, because sometimes you only get one side and you realize there's a whole nother person that can give you a different perspective so that you can try to get a sense of what's going on. And I think that's what's happened today. I do think that when you have mental health issues, there's so much shame attached to that you can be very resistant toward getting help. You can be very resistant toward having accountability for how you play a part in the conditions around you. And sometimes it's a shameful thing to want to say, I need help. I can't do this all by myself and I really need help. So this could be possibly, I don't know, this could be an example of she's just going at it alone and she is reaping the consequences of her not receiving help. Maybe she is burning bridges because she's not able to get her mental health in order. I do wish her well. I am Dr. Alicia. If you want to get a nice objective perspective on any of your relationship struggles, you can contact me at Coaching with Dr. Alicia.
All right, you have your marching orders. She makes it easy. CoachingWithDrAlicia.com. So make sure that if you need some help with that, there's nothing wrong. I'm telling you, baby, that's a glow up right there. When you go to get help and you ask for help and you really work on yourself, there's no shame in that. So please make sure that you always take care of your mental, not only just financial, right? I'm going to go to you, Dr. LaNee. What is your final thoughts and where can we find you?
I'm going to have a really quick final thought today, and that is to reach out and ask for help. If we're talking about Dawn, not just reach out and ask for it, but be accepting of it. Open your hand and take it, right? So that's my final thought around Dawn. Around the music industry, the entertainment industry as a whole, protect yourself, right? Protect yourself. Is that the song? How does the song go? Somebody tell me in the chat. But anyways, protect yourself. These folks out here do not mean you well. They are out here to monetize your talent. If somebody's going to express yourself, thank you, Constance. People are out here to pimp your talent. And it doesn't matter if you are in the music industry, if you are in the sport industry, if you are in corporate America, you have a talent, you have a skill, and somebody wants to make money off of it. When you go to your job and they pay you $25 an hour, that's because you are bringing in at least 1 to 3 times your salary. You have talent, you have skill, and people only care about it in the moment that they can use it. So we have to be thinking about what comes next. What comes after this talent and skill? How am me personally, going to be able to monetize this talent and skill and for the ages? You don't want to be working good, working hard, living a good life, and then in your later years, when it comes time to retire, be living in your car. So we have to be thinking about what comes next. How can we live well, good, however we want to live for all of our days? And so that's my final thought for today. If you need help with that, if you're an entrepreneur, business owner, or you want to become an entrepreneur, business owner, and there's a talent or skill that you have, a brilliance that you have, and you want to figure out how to build a business around it, I am the brand Your Brilliant Strategist, and you can find me at I am Dr. LaNee Javette.
See how easy we make it for y'all? I am Dr. LaNee Javette. Easy. Now, you have no reason not to reach out to her. We're talking about taking care of yourself. She's going to help you brand your brilliance. So go and make sure that you check her out. Aisha, let me hear your final thoughts and where we can find you, please.
My final thoughts are this. Just thinking about it, as hear all of us discuss what the topics today is, if you have a talent that God has blessed you with, you want to guard and protect that talent. And my wish and prayer is that the people around you will support you and find the right people to protect that talent, so that way you're not taken advantage of, because it's easy for you to be taken advantage of if you have this talent, because you're so consumed by your talent and people around you, that if they're not prepared to help you out, you might get lost in the shuffle, and before you know it, others are benefiting from your talent. So it's important to remember that, and really have those that have your best interest at heart near you, so that they might be able to support you as you go this journey. It's very important to have that. And when it comes to just our mental health, to seek help, ask for help if you're struggling with something. And if we know people that we love and care about that are struggling, let's intervene and help them, so that they don't go down the route that will cause them to lose everything, because we don't want to deal with who they are. We let them suffer. I think we should help them out, because at the end of the day, when we help those that are suffering, we're actually helping ourselves as well, because we will be held accountable for those that we could have helped and we didn't help them. So I think those are things that we should think about. So if you want help in this space, I'm a financial expert, where if you earn money and you don't want to blow your money, and you want to make sure that that money is there for you when you retire, or leave something back behind for the next generations to come, reach out to me. I'm here to help. And you can also find me coaching at the Black Business School. I really love what I do when it comes to helping our people, because I know that sometimes it's just the minor tweaks that makes a difference. Somebody on your side to help you set things up to make a difference in your financial journey.
That's what we do here. And she had a absolutely fantastic class this weekend. If you missed out on it, you need to make sure you sign up at flynewbianmoneyclub.com, catch that replay, and level up. Constance, what is your final thoughts, and where can we find you?
First, I want to say, isn't Dr. LaNee's background so clean and pristine? And I was just looking at it when he was on the solo screen. I was like, dang, I need to step my game. I got Cheetos wrappers over here. Like my shit ain't looking like that. Well, back there, baby, it's clean. I love it. Okay, I'm sorry, I got distracted. So, what was I gonna? Oh, the music industry is wicked. It's wicked. We know that. And, I have many friends that are in it, from musicians to artists. And I've heard a lot of stories, and it's sad, because these are super uberly talented people. And just like somebody said earlier, they're artists. And so a lot of times artists don't know business. And now they're getting to a place and space where they're trying to understand the business piece, but they've already gotten taken advantage of. So somebody in Snoop's caliber, I don't know why he's not receiving his fair share of royalties. I don't know why certain people aren't receiving that, but with all the information that we have now, there's no reason why they should still be victims in the way that they've been, because the music industry has been wicked for the last 100 years. We know that many Black people have gotten ripped to shreds. But that is why it's important to have those multiple revenue streams. That's why it's important to have the merch, and to, like, one of my friends right now, somebody in the millions of followers, hits, whatever, called me, was like, yo, Constance, I need to build wealth. And, what should I do? He's called me about the real estate thing. And I'm like, wait, you have this over here. You have these assets. This is what you need to work on. Let's work on this. Let's get real good. Let's get real clear about this. Once you start monetizing on this, then let's get to the other thing. But I want you to focus on this. That was my advice. So I've actually coached quite a few celebrities on just different ways and different strategies to kind of grow their wealth. But diversifying your portfolio is important. Ecclesiastes 11:2 says, have 7, no 8 revenue streams in case a disaster strikes the land. 2020, a disaster struck the land. They were unable to perform because all their eggs were in that one basket. And like many of you have all your eggs in that basket of an employer. And we know what's going on with the federal government now, how they're dismantling all of these departments and they're doing all of these crazy things that people's livelihoods are being taken away, and they're at the mercy of these jobs. I was just talking about today how people are going back to the office and they got to bring their own toilet paper. I mean, it's crazy. So you got to do something different. If you have an idea or a dream, you need to execute on it today. Stop delaying. There is something that God has placed on the inside of you. And we need to learn from these celebrities. We need to learn from our good people who have lost it all with the federal government. We need to just look around and see we can't depend on these motherfuckers. We cannot depend on the powers that be, that we have to be self-sufficient. We have to be self-reliant. We have to practice collective economics. I'm doing a training on Saturday. It's called Bring Your Idea to Life. And this is where I am helping people to take their idea, the thing, their dream, from ideation to manifestation to, hey, Dr. LaNee's favorite word, monetization. How do we get that dream out of you? How do we get it out of you and bring it to life? And then I show you how to articulate your values. Because when you believe it, because many people say, well, I haven't started my business because I don't think people will buy. Well, if you don't believe it, nobody else is going to believe it. So how do we make it valuable? How do we make it concrete? And how do we make it legitimate so that other people will want to buy it? There's something that you have inside of you. Let's bring it out. So if you go to bringyouridea-to-life.com, I'm going to put it in the chat. Go to Bring Your Idea to Life. I'm going to be doing this. Seats limited. I just did one last week. It was a 2-day. They paid $347 or something like that to be in $397. They paid to be in the class. I'm doing it for 1 day, only $97, y'all. And I can only have so many people in the class because I'm the one training and we don't have a whole lot of time. So I have to have just a certain limit of people that we can have in there so we can get your idea from ideation to monetization. I can't hear you, Lala.
I don't need to say nothing else about that. She done told you what to do. And she is already telling you that you have something inside of you that you can turn around and use to create wealth in your life. Here's my final thought. I try to do my very best to be a good human. And I try my best not to judge people. But I also am a big advocate of looking at yourself when there's always a problem in your life. So if there is something that is just not right, you just always feel like you're being defeated. Sometimes God is trying to tell you something, right? Look at yourself. Make sure that you take care of yourself because there's only one you and you only get one time around on this journey. So if you want to step into your life journey, your life goals, make sure that you take care of you first and not let someone else tear you down. If that means that you have to learn a little bit more about business, if you're an artist or whatever business you're branding, take the time to learn that. No one said you have to be an expert in absolutely everything, but you need to know enough to protect yourself. And these artists are now seeing that the industry's moved on without them very quickly, and you get pennies while we get to eat the lobster. Now, listen, if you're thinking about moving abroad, because there are a lot of people throwing that out there now because they're just not happy with what's going on in our country. I am an international real estate agent, and I focus in Portugal and all the ones around us, Spain, Italy, all those. So if you're thinking about it and you don't even know where to begin with that, I have a really good quiz on my website, www.laurakey.net, that will help you analyze where you are in that process and get you out of the box of just thinking and actually doing. You are a world citizen. Go enjoy the world. Don't get yourself stuck in a box. Now, listen, we have had a lot of conversation today. We've had a lot to say. We've had great conversation. We've had our opinions, but today's conversation really opened our eyes to the struggles that artists face, even after achieving mainstream success, whether it's fighting for fair compensation on streaming platforms or dealing with the psychological impact of public scrutiny and financial hardship. It's clear that the music industry has a very long way to go. To all the artists out there hustling every day, just know that we see you, we hear you, and we're rooting for you to get the respect and the compensation that you deserve. Stay smart with your money, protect your artistry, and never forget your worth. Thank you to our amazing panel today, Constance, Dr. Alicia, Dr. LaNee, and Aisha. And thank you for tuning in to Fly Nubian Money, because we know you could have been anywhere else today, but you hung with us today, and we appreciate you very much. Make sure that you subscribe, share, and join us for more powerful conversations every day, Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until next time, keep pushing and thriving. Be blessed.